CBS Channel 2 News at 6.
Good evening, I'm David Diaz.
I'm Michelle Marsh. It was called the Yugo, and it was supposed to be the mini car that would be all the rage. But now the Yugo is a work of art. Yugo, the car, was a big bust, but Yugo as art could be a big success. To see for yourself, go to Grand Central Terminal. Maury Alter did.
Basic transportation, affordable price. At $39.90, it's the road back to sanity.
Remember these babies? Yugos, they called them when they brought them in back in 1985, in from Yugoslavia. As in, you go for not much money, wherever you want. Problem is, this was usually about as uplifting as owning a Yugo got. So you'd go to the Yugo service guy who'd say, they'll do that. Usually when they're cold, sometimes when they're hot. Fun, it was not. Roy, this is a sad story about people who own Yugos. Can you give me something blue and down?
Oh, yeah.
You're right, it's not a real Yugo service desk at all. But as a service to those still suffering PYO, post-Yugo owner syndrome, the Yugo as art, from the artists and alums of New York's School of Visual Arts. Like the Yugo salesman said, it's for you.
The concept was to take basically a useless product at this point, because it's a car without a country and a car without a company, and to give it a new life.
You're the assistant to the curator.
Yes, I am.
Well, I'm glad to see you did something in good taste. Getting people to confess to owning a Yugo wasn't easy. Usually they said it was a friend. You say you never owned a Yugo, but you had a friend who did?
I had a friend who owned a Yugo, and it ran for about 500 miles, and it just conked out on the expressway.
You know, the terrible thing about it is they do make great lighters.
Yes, they do.
Or restrooms.
They're even better.
You might say they're grand.
Oh, like a baby grand.
By 1991, nobody was applauding. The Yugo was, as they say in the industry, automotive toast. Yugo buyers had taken a chance on something new. All you needed was $3,900 and a dream, because, hey, you never know. The exhibit runs through May 26th at Grand Central Station, which seems appropriate since many Yugo owners took trains a lot.
I basically built a frame around the Yugo and covered it with an aluminum.
And away you go. Maury Alter, Channel 2 News.
Creative ideas. Yeah. I love the toilet paper and the steering wheel.
Oh, the toaster, the piano, all of that. That's great. That's great.
You're watching WNBC for New York. And now, Chuck Scarborough, Carol Jenkins, Al Roker, and Len Berman. This is News for New York at 6.
And good evening, police. Thank you, Len. Well, remember the Yugo, that little compact car from Eastern Europe that quickly became the joke of the auto industry? Well, we've got to look at what some creative Yugo owners have done rather than junk their cars. News 4's Don Williams reports.
Submitted for your approval. Grand Central Terminal, a busy hub of transportation in the heart of New York City, is suddenly overrun by an extinct automobile known as the Yugo. But not just any Yugo, but relics reinvented, masquerading as other things.
You think it's cool?
I think it's more than cool.
It all began innocently enough.
One day I was driving around, and I saw a bunch of kids in the middle of the road playing stickball using a Yugo as a backstop.
Suddenly, the usually restrained visual arts instructor Kevin O'Callahan had an irresistible urge to have not one Yugo, but many.
So I started to run ads in newspapers asking for Yugos wanted dead or alive. And I had 79 phone calls in 2 days.
37 Yugos and $4,000 later, O'Callahan gave his students at New York School for the Visual Arts a crack at bringing the cars back to glory. This is what he got.
It
really plays.
It does, absolutely really plays. It's a little low, but it's okay. I mean, considering the circumstances.
The piano's name is Lena. It's a grand tribute to a grandmother.
The mannerisms of this piece are very similar to her. They have very similar personalities. And I know it sounds crazy, but there's a lot of her in this piece.
Welcome to the Yugo Theater. Tennis, anyone? Do you feel lucky? Hey, you never know. Good boy. I'm hungry. Get the picture? Don Williams, News 4, New York.
I don't know. I think they're absolutely fabulous. How inventive.
Great mileage, too.
You're watching WNBC for New York. And now, Chuck Scarborough, Sue Simmons, Al Roker, and Len Berman. This is News for New York at 11.
Good evening. And finally tonight, remember the Yugo, that funny little import that became the joke of the auto industry? Wait until you see this. They weren't much as automobiles, but for a group of creative New Yorkers, they've become works of art. The artists created Yugo diners, Yugo tanks, Yugo subway cars, even a Yugo toaster. The only thing you didn't do with the old Yugos was build new Yugos. And you can see them at Grand Central this week.
Very clever.
Yeah.
In New York, this is the Channel 11 News at 10 with Heidi Tom, Jack Cafferty, Sal Marciano Sports, and Mr. G Weather.
Good evening, Joe. Finally tonight, remember the old saying, never throw anything out. If you own a malfunctioning Yugo car, do not despair. They may not work too well on the road, but over at Grand Central Station, some students have found that this car has a lot of life after death. Barry Cunningham reports.
Remember the Yugo, the cheapo car of the 80s with rear window defrosters so your hands don't get cold when you have to get out and push? The Yugo has been discontinued. As a matter of fact, Yugoslavia has been discontinued. So with no spare parts, what do you do when your Yugo don't go? How about re-welding it into a Yugo piano? Students at the School of Visual Arts have found creative ways to recycle a dead Yugo. Pietro Wozniak turned his into a brick barbecue grill. The engine heats the hot dogs. The Yugo was always belching exhaust smoke anyway, so why not use it to barbecue some ribs? Anne-Marie Mattioli created the Yugo First confession booth. So you could be one of the few young ladies in America who pictures the backseat of a car as a confessional.
Maybe.
Why not recycle your Yugo into a porta potty? When you gotta go, go Yugo. Replace the carburetor with a bellows and you've got a Yugo accordion. Chop it in half, weld the ends together, and charge $1 for a kiddie car ride. Use the trunk as a slot machine or a souvenir game for amusement arcades. Turn the rear end into a mailbox and maybe the post office will recycle it for you. James Scorpay gets better mileage from his Yugo as a personal subway car.
It's basically your own personal subway, so you don't have to get on with everybody else and be all crowded.
There's so much downtime with the Yugo that you might as well have it tiled and converted to a shower stall with real plumbing and side view toothbrush holder. Or turn it into a personal drive-in movie theater.
You can also watch the film from the outside of the car because the projection comes through the windshield. So we've had people here at Grand Central sitting there watching Steve McQueen in The Blob for 2 hours at a time while they eat their lunch.
Who said the Yugo was good for nothing? Remember, if you bought a Yugo in the 80s, you got one free. A Yugo submarine has got to be worth more than $3,900 today if you can get a couple of scuba divers to get out and push. What's next for Yugo Next? Well, the art students are hoping to take their Yugo show on the road. And if these dead cars get as much mileage in the art world as they have at Grand Central Station, the Yugo show could last longer than the car did. At Grand Central Terminal, Barry Cunningham, Channel 11, News at 10.
Live
from the News Center, serving Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware, Ken Matz, Renee Chenault, Ron Burke Sports, and Herb Clark with our exclusive Earthwatch forecast, News Center 10.
And if you remember the Yugo, the import car that carried a 500-mile warranty, New York Art has the answer. Yugo phones, Yugos for tennis, a bathroom and Yugo, a Yugo piano. And if you gotta go in a Yugo.
The last one was a
What was
Yugo
the last
casket. It was kind of interesting. So.
Tonight on Prime News, a second explosion for Oklahoma City's federal building. This time, it is planned.
Also ahead, potentially unsafe safety belts in millions of cars sold in the U.S.
And for the second time in 2 years, the mighty Mississippi overflows the Midwest. Hello and welcome. I'm Lyndon Souls.
And I'm Bobby Batista. Also coming up on Prime News, auto art.
From a toaster to a subway car to a submarine complete with periscope, the Yugo is treated with the respect it deserves by students from New York's School of Visual Arts.
CNN's Jeannie Mose on new uses for old cars. Well, where do old Yugos go when they die? Remember that car?
Oh, the car. Well, yeah, sort of. In some cases, they're reincarnated. Here's Jeannie Mose.
This story is dedicated to anyone who's ever bought a cheap little car and ended up getting burned, as in toast.
And it kind of just popped into mine.
From a toaster to a subway car to a submarine complete with periscope, the Yugo is treated with the respect it deserves by students from New York's School of Visual Arts. Remember the Yugo, the failed economy car from Yugoslavia? Well, when this Yugo breaks down, who needs a car phone to call for help when your car is a phone?
Let's hang up, okay?
Yugo Next, the project is called. The idea was to give new purpose to something useless, turn a Yugo into a Zippo, or turn it on end and make it into a fireplace. Instructor Kevin O'Callaghan dreamed up the project.
So I ran an ad in the local paper, Yugos wanted dead or alive.
He bought a bunch of them for less than $100 a piece and handed them out to his students. Now 29 are on display at Grand Central Station. Forget car keys. The pianist sits where the engine was. The student who designed it wants to sell it.
I'm actually looking into now Elton John, Billy Joel. A real dream would be Harry Connick Jr.
The guy who turned this Yugo into an accordion had to cut 33 inches out of the car's midsection, but a Yugo's so cheap, the instructor says some students cut through it with scissors.
A lot of people actually think it's a real work of art, which surprised me, because I thought I was just making a goofy car.
Instead of getting behind the wheel, you can get under the shower.
Does anyone want this?
Actually, one person did express interest in it.
Jude Dominique says the hardest part was tiling his Yugo. This one was actually in running condition till he drained the gas tank. Do you want a towel?
Powder. Sure.
By the way, Jude doesn't shower nude in his Yugo. For those who gambled on a Yugo and lost, there's a slot machine with Yugos representing lemons. If you're into games, there's foosball. Oh, no! With original parts such as window winders and pedals. Tennis, anyone? This Yugo shoots balls at the racket of a former tennis champ. Students spend a lot on their creations.
It was about $4,500. Yeah,
You know, a Yugo itself only used to cost, what, $3,900?
Right.
If you're not into tennis, there's Yugo putt. The ball rolls down what used to be the engine. If it goes in one hole, it comes out the exhaust pipe onto the green. If it goes in the other hole, the headlights flash and the ball ends up in a sand trap. There's a quarter kiddie police car ride. Kiss this Yugo goodbye. It's now a movie theater featuring The Blob. And this Yugo ended up as Hugo's Diner. What made you think of turning a Yugo into a barbecue?
I figured to make something useful.
What are you going to do with this thing?
If somebody's not going to buy it, I just have to throw it away because I don't have a place to keep it.
Da Burbs, he calls his barbecued Yugo, adorned with flowers. Yugos are shown no mercy.
Why did they put rear defrosters in Yugos? To keep your hands warm while you're pushing it.
Still, a former official from the now-defunct car company was delighted with the exhibit.
If I had been this creative as the Senior Vice President of Marketing, we may still be delivering cars today.
But not cars like this one, a confessional with a cross hood ornament.
I feel much better now. Thank you. My sins are gone.
The exhibit apparently confused some New Yorkers. Organizers found letters people tried to send in this Yugo-turned mailbox. As for the Yugo porta-san, named Got to Go, have you found anything in the porta-john?
Yes, we have. And we had to call in a crew to have it cleaned up.
For sale. Used Yugo with cold running water. And what would a Yugo be without at least one little design flaw? Now we got to get out.
Yeah.
How do we do that?
We don't.
Jeannie Moe, CNN, New York.
Just think what they could have done with the Edsel. That's Prime News. I'm Lyndon Soule.
And I'm Bobby Batista. Crossfire's next.
Action News, Delaware Valley's leading news program, with Dave Franco, Rick Williams, and Monica Malpass.
Good morning. It is 6 o'clock on this Tuesday, May 23rd. Finally this morning, no one ever called the subcompact cars known as Yugos works of art. That is, until now. Some New York design students have transformed the cars into toasters, submarines, even pianos. That's a Yugo. Their work is on display at Grand Central Station. The project is the brainchild of an art instructor who put a call out for Yugos wanted dead or alive. And he bought them for $100 a piece. The exhibit is called Yugo Next.
I love that.
How often had the Ngozi guard walk past the vehicle as three heads blocking the light of the moons of Hrakdep? Commander Jarrett and I just sat perfectly still as he passed, waiting for him to expose the shukta on his back, making him vulnerable at last to our molecule scrambler. It was important not to sweat. Ngozi lived on sweat, and I'd go from an officer to a snack in a nanosecond. Now he turned, his six noses in the air. My hand trembled as he roared out, "Welcome to Breakfast Time with Laurie Hibbert, Tom Bergeron, and Bob the Puppet. My name's Jim, and I'm the announcer. Here's Laurie, Tom, and Bob."
Jillian's at Grand Central Station at the Yugo exhibit, a failed car but a successful art project. Jill?
Absolutely. Imagine going to school and having a professor say to you, take a car, reconfigure the car, and make it into art. Well, that's exactly what happened at the School of Visual Arts here in Manhattan. Take a look at this. This is Brendan. He's working on a piece of art. It is one of those Yugo cars. You know, these cars, they came from Yugoslavia. Like we said, between 85 and 92, they tried to have a little thing going on. It didn't quite happen. But Brendan has taken it, made it into art. Inside the car, you can see a picture of the film The Blob. So these are just some of these ideas that the students are using. Now meet Kevin. Kevin is one of the instructors at the School of Visual Arts. Kevin, tell us, how did you get the Yugo cars in the first place?
I ran an ad in the local papers that read Yugos wanted dead or alive, and I had 79 phone calls in the first 3 days.
Okay, now tell us a little bit about the applicants for the program. Now you received over 2,500 sketches, and then you selected the students and the alumni to actually participate in the exhibit.
That's correct, and we narrowed it down to 50 students, and those 50 students, out of those 50 students, we gave 39 Yugo automobiles to 39 students. That's the starting point.
And there are 27 featured exhibits here today. Thanks a lot, Kevin. Now, this is Lenny. Come over and meet Lenny. Now, Lenny works as a professional. He designs commercial sets, but he's also designed this Yugo car, which is a model of a golf course. Isn't that cute? Now, Lenny is here playing golf. What gave you the inspiration to come up with a golf course?
I knew that a lot of people across the country like golf or miniature golf, so I figured they'd have fun interacting with the piece.
Okay, now the funny thing happens. Did you see that? I don't know if you caught that.
We did.
But when the ball goes down, the lights, the front headlights of the car go on, and also if you hit a hole-in-one, is that what it's called?
The horn goes on.
The horn goes on, so it's a whole heck of a lot of fun, whole fun for the family. Now, thanks a lot, Lenny. Now, you have to remember that the School of Visual Arts is the only independent, well, the largest, excuse me, not the only, but the largest independent college of visual arts in the United States. And it's given a lot of artists like Celia here the opportunity to create wonderful pieces of art. Now, Celia, this is a piano and a Yugo all in one. It was a little bit complicated for you to do. Tell us a little bit about how you made it.
Well, what I did was I cut the car in half this way and also cut it in the top and basically made it two different sections and then put the piano in and wrapped it around the entire car. There's a lot of welding involved here. The only part of the car that's not original Yugo metal is actually this little S-curve right over here and also the top of the piano itself.
Jill?
Okay, what our cameraman Danny is showing right now is the only part that's not original. Yes, Tom?
What's a tune-up? Run you on that.
Now, you have our friends here actually playing the piano. It was very hard for you to get the funding to put a piano into the car. Tell us a little bit about how you were able to achieve the funding.
The funding was actually when the project first came out and it was starting to happen, I had no idea how I could actually afford this thing, and I was worried about it, and about 2 weeks after the concept was accepted, my grandmother post-mortem sent me a check. And so because of that, the piano is named after her, and it is a lot like her, actually, in many different ways.
Okay, thank you very much, Celia. A tribute to a grandmother.
What
That's
would
beautiful.
Liberace have paid for that?
Now, if Piera wasn't busy giving autographs and talking to people in Grand Central, she'd be ready to tell us in the last 30 seconds about her toaster. Now, this is a wonderful, original piece of art. You've got the toast. You can even see the smoke coming out as if it were burning, and neon lights like the toasters in olden times. Tell us a little bit about what you intend to do with this piece after it comes out of the exhibit.
I'm hoping to sell it possibly to a bread company or an appliance company.
Wow, and how much do you think you'll be able to sell it for?
$30,000.
$30,000 for a Yugo made into a toaster. When we come back, we're going to see more of those terrific pieces of art here in Grand Central Station in Manhattan.
All right, and next week, the Edsel Mona Lisa. Wait till you see that. Thanks, Jill. Lori?